Good news, everyone. I've managed to find some chorus fruit, which did only take forever to find, but at least we do have some. And it seems as if the bees are also capable of using the warp plates as well, so that's nice. In addition to the chorus fruit, I have also seen these floating islands above us with some crystals sticking out of them. And those crystals are Ametrine gems, which we can make into Ametrine blocks, which we can then use to upgrade our netherite gear into Ametrine gear, which according to the colonist tools and armour set seems to be the best type of armours that our idiots can get. And on the tools and weapons front, it seems that panderite is the best material that we can make for them. But we will deal with the Ametrine first, which will mean that we'll need to get up to those islands, which means that I will need to get myself some fireworks for the elytra, which means we need to get some gunpowder. And we really don't have that much gunpowder on us. But that is then where the Creebee comes into play, which we should be able to get out some powdery combs from it, which eventually, if we put that into a centrifuge, that will then give us out some gunpowder. And in order to get the Creebee, we will need to feed our normal bee some TNT, which unfortunately my 4 pieces of gunpowder just won't cut it, but if we can go kill something for some gunpowder, we could then make the TNT, then make ourselves up a Creebee. Or in other words, I basically just need to go slaughter a few creepers, which I do know of a cave system relatively close to us. So apologies in advance, Santiago, but I am going to be making a mess of the nether miner here, just so that I can get down into this cave, where I can already see a customer, so long as he doesn't explode prematurely. 7 gunpowder. Perfect. Now we need to get our hands on a normal bee, which I don't know if the apiary has any normal bees within it. Unfortunately, it didn't, but I didn't need to travel out too far before I did come across one, so we'll grab it. Then we will force feed this TNT block to the bee to make the Creebee. The Creebee feasts upon some coal ore or some TNT to produce those combs, so at this point I'm not sure what's easier to make. I will check to see if the colony has any spare coal ore in it, but for now let's find an empty nest and put this bad boy into it. Right, let's get a simulator chip then into this, and I will take out the bee that's in there already, then we'll put in the Creebee in its place. TNT was easier for me to make there, so the Creebee should then feast upon it, and eventually we will maybe then get out some of those combs to make some gunpowder. And whilst it does that then for us, I am going to very quickly head to the end portal, just because I did come across a library down here, which does have some cobwebs within it. This is a rather odd spawn for the library actually. But yep, we have plenty of cobwebs within here, and plenty of bookshelves as well. So we'll grab out a few cobwebs then, and hopefully that will be pretty much everything for Bella's Enchanter's Tower upgrade. And it is a bit wasteful without Silk Touch, but I will grab out all of the books here, just to make sure that our idiots then don't need to make too many books for us. Did not mean to mine up that. And there's some coal ore for us too, so that's good. There's even more food then for the Creebee. During the last trip to the end, we managed to capture some ender bees, which we will be able to release here within the big nest, but we will need to make some anti-teleportation chips just so that they don't escape. And we have all of the materials to make them up, so there's one of them for us. I will put that into another spare beehive, and then we'll release those teleporting buggers. Actually, if I can put this in with the Creebee, oh well, he's already got a few neighbours, then that would have saved me having to make up another simulator one. Right, I'll need to get rid of those ones first. Okay, so let's put the ender bees in then. They will get another 2 neighbours eventually, but I will need to get some chorus flowers, which I do have, and put them into the feeding trough here too. So that should be gunpowder and end materials now being produced in there. Well, eventually being produced in here, but I will just let them get on with that now. And I have been reminded as well about the chorus fruit. I wonder if I can grow that within a botany pot here. So chorus flower in, chorus fruit in. Well, maybe not the flower as a base. What will you need is soil. I reckon it might require some end stone, of which I do have bees producing that for us. Let's see. Yep, indeed it is. So great, we can now produce our own chorus fruit, which means that I can now supply our idiots with level 5 materials. Even better. Well, we'll still need to wait a little while before we get our hands on some Ametrine. So in the meantime then, how do we get some panderite? I know the ore is a rare resource that we can get from the nether, but I did see that we can make ourselves a panderite bee, which should be able to produce us some panderite combs, which eventually then I assume would give us out some panderite. Although I assume that the panderite bee will require, yes, a block of panderite in order to feast upon it to give us out the combs. I will worry about that later on. As for now though, to make a panderite bee, we will need to breed together a diamond and an emeraldite bee. The diamond bee we can simply breed out using an ender bee and a lapis bee, with the lapis bee then being bred out from a redstone bee and a blue banded bee. I do have both those types of bees, so you take that and you take that. This should then give us out the lapis bee. Then with our all grown up lapis bee, we will take out the ender bee, feed it some flowers and feed you some flowers, and that should give us out the diamond bee. And in order to make the emeraldite bee, we will need to feed the diamond bee some emeraldite shards, which also seems to maybe be a nether-based resource that we'll need to get. Well, I do have some time to kill, still waiting on the Cree bee giving us out some gunpowder, so may as well go on a bit of an adventure. All of this nonsense just to set our idiots up for level 5. And will they appreciate it? Absolutely not. A quick read up on the wiki. I seen that we can get some panderite from the Ember Bog, or Ember Bog, whatever that is. So the closest one is 320 blocks in this direction. And I get the feeling that this is the Ember Bog here then. Interesting biome. So we will keep our eyes peeled then for any potential panderite spawns, of which I think we have some here. Yes, we do. Grand. Now, as for some emeraldite, we need to go to somewhere called the Wailing Garth, which is a bit of a further distance away, unfortunately. Right, I'm just going to put down a waystone here for the Ember Bog. Then we will venture in this direction and hopefully come across this Wailing Garth. Really, really odd names for these places, but who am I to judge? Well, I have just stumbled upon one of these remnant bastions and probably going to get my arse kicked in here, but it would be rather nice if I could come across some ancient debris, which I have done. Who needs a nether miner anyway? But we're not down here for ancient debris today, we are down here for some other bloody useless materials, which are 600 odd blocks in some direction at the moment. And we've arrived, the Wailing Garth. So once again, just keeping our eyes peeled for some emeraldite this time around, which I think we will need for the pandorite anyway. This is a very awful place actually. But we are on the lookout for some rather nice green blocks, such as the one just across the way, which might be a bit more difficult to get than anticipated. Ah, who am I kidding? Nice and easy to get. So our little trip to the Nether was slightly productive. We do have a few panderite and emeraldite ores. I don't know if looting affects the amount that we get out from them. 2 from panderite, as for emeraldite, 2 from that as well. Okay, well in total then, let's see what we get out. 21 pieces of raw panderite and 15 pieces of emeraldite. So we need to turn the raw panderite into scraps, which we can only do within a blast furnace. So there's a few of them set up for us, and we will eventually get out the scraps towards making a block of it. As for the emeraldite, we need a diamond bee, which I think we have one here. Let me scoop him up. And I think we just simply feed it a piece of emeraldite to make a emeraldite bee. Then alongside a diamond bee, we will get the 2 of them breeding together, and I think this should then make us up a panderite bee. Indeed it did. Which we do need to feed the panderite bee a panderite block, which requires panderite ingots, and to make those, oh, we need 4 scraps per one. And some emeraldite scraps. Well, basically we had enough materials then to make 5 of the ingots. About halfway there at least, but we will need to go back into the Nether for more parts at another point. The panderite bee will just simply need to go hungry for a little bit longer, just until we do. But hopefully that has been enough time then for our creep bee to have produced us some combs. Which it has, to be fair. There's some powdery combs already within the centrifuge. There's some ender combs going in as well. But because the centrifuge has some milk within it, we are not able to use it. I need one without any form of fluid in it that isn't honey. We have some honey in there, so that should be okay within this centrifuge, and maybe we'll get out some of those gunpowder parts. Yes, we are getting some out. Was it worth all this hassle? Probably not. We pretty much ended up with only 9 pieces of gunpowder there, but the concept works at least, and we are able to make our fireworks. And it is with them that I am hoping to be able to get up to these Ametrine Isles on the top. These are very high up actually. But at least we have plenty of Ametrine ore all around the place, and there's plenty of gems for us. Okay, sweet. So once we get our hands on some netherite, we can then immediately upgrade it to Ametrine, which I hope is a better material for use. If it's not, then oh well, our idiots will just go around in the material anyway, seeing as this was a little bit of a hassle just getting this stuff. But what I can now do with these gems is combine them together into these Ametrine blocks. And then if we feed a diamond bee a piece of this Ametrine, we get out an Ametrine bee, which will be able to make us some Ametrine combs, which, you guessed it, will lead to even more Ametrine gems. That we certainly do not need any more of. But maybe whenever we do get to upgrading tools and armours, we will need plenty of this stuff, so it's not a bad idea having it.